This week's Mind Espresso, which are 3 to 5 minute mind hacks from thought leaders that I've interviewed or have read about, is from Dr. Dweck and her book Mindset, where she looks at people who had a growth mindset versus people who have a fixed mindset. Now, someone who has a growth mindset believes that intellect and personality and your morals can constantly be improved. Someone who has a fixed mindset believes that that's all they got, and so they're always in defensive mode because they've got to defend their intelligence, defend their personality, defend their morals. Right now, our story is going to start up in Seattle, where a student of Dr. Dweck's had taken the growth mindset work to an Indian reservation. And at that Indian reservation, the students had consistently underperformed in the Seattle school district area. They're at the bottom of the rankings. And she introduced growth mindset, and she said, every day my message to students was, we are going to grow your brain for 6 hours. Not that you're going to learn X or you need to perform Y, but that we're going to grow your brain for 6 hours every day. And she put together a curriculum around this, and in less than 2 years, they went from the bottom end of scoring to the top end of scoring. Now, she didn't tell them she wanted them to score high. She told them she wanted them to consistently grow their brains, and she gave them activities that showed that constant progress. So why does this happen? Well, Dr. Dweck has shown in doing brain scans that when someone with a growth mentality is confronted with a challenge, their brain lights up, new pathways and new connections form. The brain literally and figuratively grows bigger. Now, contrast that to a fixed mentality person. When they are faced with a challenge, the brain shuts down and it atrophies. And so it was no surprise to Dr. Dweck, who has shown in study after study that growth mindset children outperform fixed mindset children regardless of income levels. But there are a couple other things to consider here. When you have a growth mindset, you are more resilient. You naturally want to grow, and you're naturally appreciative of the world around you because everything is an opportunity to grow. When you have a fixed mindset, we introduce a lot of anxiety because you believe your intelligence level can only be so much. You're constantly rating yourself as either good or not good. And what she showed in experiments and others have shown is you take on some really antisocial personality traits, like trying to find other people that you're better at when you fail so that you don't feel so bad, or you'll cheat. Students who said that they fell below a certain example said they're much more likely to cheat next time, or they're just going to avoid it altogether, right? What Dr. Dweck explained is that we don't want to praise children for being clever. That actually sets a bar by which now they're going to try to measure themselves by, and every time the world tells them they're not clever, they're going to suffer from self-esteem issues. And what she found is that children had lower self-esteem, but higher self-image. In other words, they expected themselves to be better, and so they were always putting on a show. Right? And always feeling they had to push out there this defense of themselves so they didn't feel bad about themselves. Well, children who had a growth mentality were praised for three things. They were praised for effort, continuing strategies, trying different ways to get in, and progress. And those children responded to challenges with excitement. They were appreciative of others' works. And they generally had a much more positive disposition and wanted to learn more. Now, lest you think this is all about children, let's move our story. Now we're going to go from Seattle to Redmond, where we have the story of Microsoft, which at one point was the most valuable company in the world, and then it started to decline relative to its peers. And when they looked at the culture, what they found is they had a culture of know-it-alls, really smart people, but highly competitive and defensive. And they wanted a company of learn-it-alls. Those with a growth mindset. So they actually brought in Dr. Dweck, and they brought her growth mindset mentality up to Microsoft. And through culture change and through a lot of business effort and other things, Microsoft has now regained their perch as the most valuable company in the world, or at least trades that spot with Apple. So what is going on, and what's the lesson for all of us? Well, the lesson is we want to focus less on comparison, whether or not we're good enough when it comes to our intellect or our personality or our morals, and focus more on growth. What can I learn, and am I progressing? So in any situation, right, where you get into, focus on what is the lesson, what can I learn, and what does progress look like for me? And then on a daily basis, we create progress momentum, right? So as you think about your day or you think about your week, think about the challenges that lie in front of you. And rather than embrace the anxiety, use the energy from anxiety for enthusiasm to learn, right? Just switch that energy, because that energy is going to be there, whether it's anxiety or enthusiasm, is up to you. Look at your challenges and try to understand where can I grow, what can I learn, and what will progress look like. And then on an ongoing basis, you're going to shift your personality, right? Because all personality, by the way, is a collection of cognitive habits. You're going to shift your personality from a more fixed mindset to a more growth mindset. And that is this week's MindEspresso.